There's a particular kind of anxiety that settles into a practice group before things get bad. It's not dramatic. It's not a single event. It's a mood. It's the sense that the conversations in the hallway are slightly more guarded than they used to be. It's the departure of someone you didn't expect to leave. It's the meeting that gets canceled and rescheduled and then canceled again. It's the recruiting push that suddenly stops. It's the managing partner showing up to a practice group meeting for the first time in 2 years. If you've felt that anxiety, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you haven't, remember this episode because at some point in a career, most attorneys will. I'm Andrew Wilcox, legal recruiter since 2003. Today, I want to talk about practice group instability, what it looks like, what it means, and what you should actually do when you're seeing the signs. So, at most firms, your practice group is your world. It's where your work comes from. It's where your staffing comes from. It's where your mentors live, where your referrals originate, where your compensation gets advocated for in the partnership discussions. The health of that group is directly tied to your own professional health in ways that the firm-wide brand can obscure. A firm can be nationally ranked, well capitalized, and thriving, and still have individual practice groups that are in serious trouble. The nameplate doesn't protect you if the infrastructure underneath is fracturing. The red flags. Let's go through these one by one. Lateral departures without explanation. When attorneys leave a practice group and the firm's internal account of why is vague or contradictory or sounds suspiciously like a press release, that's a red flag. The official story is almost never the real story. One departure can be anything. Two departures in 18 months in the same group requires attention. Three, well, it's a pattern. Recruiting freezes or reversals. When a firm was actively building a practice group and then suddenly stops, freezes headcount, pulls back offers, goes quiet on a search that was supposed to be a priority, something has changed. Firms invest in growth when they see growth. When the investment stops, find out why. Next would be client attrition without clear replacement. If major matters are concluding and you're not seeing comparable new matters come in, if the group's pipeline feels thinner than it did a year ago, that matters. Practice groups sustain themselves on the momentum of client relationships. When that momentum slows, it usually doesn't reverse on its own. Leadership transitions within the group. The departure of a practice group chair or a senior relationship partner can be neutral or it can be devastating, depending on where that person's clients and loyalties went. If the chair of your group left and took 3 major clients with them, the structural economics of that group just changed fundamentally. Changed billing or staffing patterns. If you're finding it harder to staff your matters with the quality attorneys you used to be able to pull from, or if billing rate pressure has intensified in a way that's affecting your ability to pursue certain kinds of work, those are signs of a group that's competing from a weakened position. Compensation conversations that feel defensive. When you ask straightforward questions about compensation and the answers are evasive, when the formula changes without clear explanation, when you sense that the leadership of the group is managing down expectations rather than rewarding performance, that defensiveness tells you something about the group's resources and confidence. So, what to do when you see these signs? First, gather information before you draw conclusions. Some of these signs have innocent explanations. The departure was personal. The recruiting freeze was strategic. The matter concluded because the deal closed. You need real information, not anxiety-driven interpretation. But at this important, gathering information requires asking questions, having real conversation, and being willing to hear different answers. Willful ignorance is not a strategy. Second, understand your own position within the group with clarity. If the group contracts or consolidates, where do you land? Are you a central revenue producer whose relationships are the lifeblood of the group, or are you someone whose position is dependent on the health of larger infrastructure? Those are very different situations with very different implications. Third, do not let loyalty become paralysis. Some of the most talented attorneys I've worked with stayed too long in a deteriorating practice group because they felt loyal to the institution or to specific colleagues. Loyalty is a virtue. It's not a professional strategy. The attorneys who ended up in the best positions were the ones who saw the instability clearly, gave it a fair assessment period, and then made a deliberate decision, either to stay and contribute to stability or to move before the market could see the instability in their resume. The window for a proactive move is always better than the window for a reactive one. And here's the fundamental truth about practice group stability. It's not something you can control. You can influence it. You can contribute to it. You can advocate for it. But if the group is losing critical mass, losing key relationships, or losing the confidence of firm leadership, those are forces larger than any individual attorney. What you can control is how well informed you are, how clearly you see the situation, and how deliberately you respond. See it clearly, respond deliberately. I'm Andrew Wilcox. This is a Lateral Brief. If you'd like to have a confidential discussion about your career or practice goals, please email me at andrew@wilcox-legal.com. As always, grateful, Andrew Wilcox.